everybody, and welcome to the newest indoor adventure in Recovery, Part 8. Today is June 15th, 2020, and you are loved. And that is a very important thing that we like to remind each and every single one of our viewers at the beginning of each and every single one of our sessions. If this is your first time joining us, consider going to youtube.com/indooradventures, where you can find the VODs of all of the games that we have played onto this channel thus far. Or if you are more of an audiocast inclined person, you can find us anywhere where audiocasts are being made available for free under the same moniker. Speaking of things that are being made for free, we also have an after show called Nights in the Courtyard that we like to do, where we answer questions not only from the community but also from each other, that is being posted at our Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com/indooradventures, you can find that podcast also being currently made for free. And I say being made for free because I'm not paying for it. You guys are making it self-sustaining instead. So hey, congrats. We have gotten to the point of this series where people like Koss subscribing to the Twitch channel, thank you Koss, are helping pay for things like Adobe, things like Pretzel, things like Zoom. It's incredibly helpful, and I honestly appreciate it because anything else that we earn then goes right back into assets for the channel, so that way we can get new backgrounds, new busts, new art, that sort of thing. It is a wonderful time. And speaking of places that also include wonderful times, we have a merch store set up. So if you go to indooradventure.redbubble.com, we got t-shirts, we got posters, we got mugs, we got throw pillows, we got shower curtains, we got all sorts of incredible things ready at your disposal. And of course, we also now have Tiamat blessing face masks, because with all of the things going on outside, well, we've felt like it was, a service to you guys to be able to provide something that will keep you safe outside, as well as promotes Tiamat, because who doesn't need to know about that awesome Dragon Bay?
Remember, no case, no case.
And with that, that's it for my spiel. So, hey, RJ, who are you playing tonight?
Hey everybody, I'm RJ, and I'm playing Caelum, the Shadowkai Wizard Cleric, and also Arjhan, the Aasimar Warlock Barbarian.
Hello everyone, I'm back! It's LB, and I'm playing Gwen, the Halfling Barbarian Fighter. Happy Pride!
Hi, it's me, Cyber, coming at you looking like a full chipmunk. I am playing Arjhan, the Draconian Ball of Anxiety and Self-Loathing. Him.
Hi everybody, I'm Wings, also known as Danae Keener. I'm going to be playing as Coriander, the Elgin Paladin.
And I am the Indoor Adventurer, and tonight I shall be your Dungeon Master. So, last we left off, we started off the session with a group of red dragons and Githyanki cornering your group on top of the body of a creature known only as the Dying One. It was then that you were all taken to the city of Tu Narath, where you were then put in front of Queen Vlaakith, the Lich Queen of the Githyanki, who while abiding by an ages-long treaty of sorts with Tiamat, said that she would be willing to help out your dear friend Caelum recover from the situation that he was currently involved in. And in exchange, she would ask for your help in recovering some of the Githyanki youth that were stranded on one of the on a material plane, one of the worlds that they had set up as a stronghold to face off against the Mind Flayer menace. It was at this point that, Gwen, you decided that you were going to stay behind with your dear companion Caelum, because god damn it, you weren't going to be separated from him again and possibly risk him being turned into something or captured again. Al, you, Arjhan, and Cori ended up flying off with the red dragon known as Rasa through the dragon caves, where you were all able to recover, and then proceeded to board onto a large interplanar vessel that went towards the material plane. You ended up recovering these Githyanki youth and made your way back to the city of Tu Narath, and as you arrived, Rasa ended up meeting up your group to let you know that Caelum has awoken. And that is where we are going to actually start off today's session. Caelum, last time we had played, you were regaining memories from your time in the dark under the service of Father Linar. And it is at this point that your eyes shoot open and you are in a strange room, and you see that Gwen is currently kind of sitting up on a chair. Gwen, make a... I don't even say you need to make a Constitution roll at this. There's something that you've noticed, Gwen, which is that while in this place, time's passage doesn't really hold any kind of meaning to you. I'm getting an error message saying that the stream has disconnected. It's attempting to reconnect. So we're just going to keep going because we have the record button going on somewhere separate. And if anybody misses anything, that's a reason to check us out later.
Yeah, you're super choppy on my end.
Thanks, Twitch. You're a peach. And so, Gwen, you've noticed that you are not hungry. You don't feel any kind of real bodily aches or pains. And you have watched as a series of these Githyanki medics have come in, and each one will like put a hand onto Caelum's head, put a hand onto their own, and then and when you've asked, this is how they are administering their healing. There's not much that they can do physically for him, as with their general check, nothing physically seems to be wrong, but they know that your friend is deep within himself in terms of his psyche, so they are just in the process of bringing him back out. And Caelum, a lot of your resurfacing of memories are these Gith currently just pulling you to the surface to be back into the present of your own person. And so this is after a period of, Gwen, you know, it's been a little bit of time since the last medic came in. Again, unless you are like counting things out personally, the passage of time is very, very few and far between. Mm-hmm. So you see Caelum begin to stir. What would you like to do?
Gwen, like, she was leaning back in the chair and had it, like, she was passing the time by balancing herself and trying to, like, stay on two legs. And she immediately kind of, like, pops forward and she, like, jumps on the bed next to him, like, not directly over him, but pretty close.
Okay. So, Caelum, when your eyes shoot open, you are in this strange white room. You are wearing very loose-fitting clothes in this very nice, almost ostentatious bed, and you see this form leaping through the light towards you. What would you like to do? It is making unintelligible noises.
Do I spot the door to the room?
You do.
Is it open?
It is.
Blessing of the Raven Queen out of there.
Okay. And when you Blessing of the Raven Queen, make a dexterity save for me.
You know this is my worst stat.
I do.
Back to form. Natural 1.
Excellent. So, Caelum, as you Blessing of the Raven Queen out of this door, from your back are 4 very large, very powerful looking wings, and as you go to move forward, they are cumbersome and definitely meeting with wind resistance as you try and go forward, and you end up just sort of tripping over the fact that it feels like you are almost running through water with these large, heavy things coming off the sides of your back, and you just immediately fall towards the ground. Gwen, as you tried to leap towards Caelum, he just looked at you with utter shock and panic and bamfed. And then you hear a clattering sound as this winged boy collapses onto the ground, covered in this shadow armor. And then the armor begins to dissipate, and the wings also just seem to turn to ash on his back and dissipate as well.
It's like a cat in a paper bag as he's struggling with his wings, trying to detangle himself.
Yeah. Gwen's gonna like move over to him and like kind of like stand in front of him and put her arms up. It's like, whoa, 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 hey, it's okay, big guy.
Caelum,
Just your friend Gwen.
as Gwen is saying this, looking down the hallway, you can see that there is this reptilian-looking humanoid wearing these long white robes that have their hands steepled in front of them. And they have like slicked back reddish hair and almost like these thick red sideburns that are coming down as well. And they just look at you curiously and begin making their way towards you down this hallway.
He throws an arm back, and that arcane weave energy starts collecting inside of it.
No, Gwen's gonna punch him.
Okay, Caelum, make a wisdom save.
25.
Okay. You see this individual raise a hand, and you hear in your head, "Please calm down. We are not your enemy." And you feel this spell wash over you. And they just give you this very, like, concerned look, like, be calm.
Get away from me.
Hey, whoa, whoa, step back, step back, step back. Hey, Caelum, look at me. You remember me?
He looked towards Gwen. How do I know you're real?
I don't know, we can fucking find out.
And Gwen, when you are looking at Caelum, he looks weathered. His skin is a little bit tighter against his body. You can see that there's some of these rather gnarly looking veins that seem to come up his neck to the lower part of his jaw that extend down towards the edges of his eyes. And there is a lack of luster to his Shadarkai black eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But as he had used this magic, you see that those veins almost begin to softly glow.
Look, you can go anywhere you want. Just please let me come with you. I'm not going to try and keep you here. But, like, I don't actually know where here is, like, in the big scheme of things. So, like, just let's go together if you want to get out of here.
The spell in his hand fizzles, and he drops to a knee.
And the figure at the end of the hall says, "I mean you no harm.
You're not being very helpful, sir."
I am a doctor."
Yeah, I know. Can you just give us 5 minutes, please?
"It is advised that you rest." And they will just then stand at the edge of the hallway, not stepping any further, but just making sure that their patient is not doing anything drastic.
Mm-hmm.
What do I have?
Do you remember me?
You'll reach out a hand and touch her cheek, and pinch it really hard.
Ow. I was kind of joking about the sex thing, but I mean, no, you need to heal, Caelum.
You said you didn't know where we were.
Well, not really. I mean, like, I know we're in the hospital with this Gith Yankee, but, like, we're kind of on a different plane of existence. So,
What was the last thing I remember before going under?
Before going under, which time? Like your friends beating you in the library going under? Like, okay. You have recollections of basically the events from the laboratory to the old temple to opening the door to then being inside the library. There is a sharp cutoff where the door opened and when you had stepped in versus when your friends had entered.
Staggers up to his feet and walks back into the room.
yeah, that's a good idea. Gwen follows him.
Gith Yankee will follow behind.
Did I even prep that? Nope. So tell me something about us that only you would know.
That only I would know? Okay.
I use collective us, not you
Right,
and I.
right. You tried to run away like the second night we were together, and I had to tackle you outside. Like I jumped out of a window to tackle you.
You sit down on the bed.
Well, I'm trying to think of when you were there or not. Wait, were you there when we talked to Thordak? Nope. That's nope. What's the other
Thordak.
dragon?
A Rask?
A Rask? When I was hitting on a Rask? No, that was Cori.
And Caelum, as Gwen is trying to come up with memories that the two of you would obviously share and be able to commiserate on, looking out of this room that you are in, there is a window that extends outward, and you see before you almost a familiar sight. When you have been to Saloon's library and you are standing on the plateau and you gaze outward, you see the vast expanse of the elemental royal and the effects that it has on the astral sea as a whole. And looking out, you see that you can feel yourself physically here, but this is very similar to the land that you go to when you dream. And from your vantage point, you see that there are ships floating in midair. There are red dragons flying about without causing any kind of great distress or harm below. This is a very strange place from what you are used to.
Just continue look out the window, being quiet.
There was that one time where I played the flute in a field and you kind of sat next to me after we left your off constantly friends. And she kind of like stops and looks at him like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have mentioned that. Does he seem affected by that at all?
I think he's more preoccupied looking out the window.
Okay. How are you feeling?
Like everything is water. It's hard to move. My head hurts a little.
Do you need anything?
We'll shrug.
How do I know you're the real Caelum?
Don't put that in the boy's head.
I'm sorry. What do you remember?
I remember entering the library. There's gaps. we were fighting?
Yeah. What about before that?
I think we should wait for the others.
Okay. Do you want booze or something?
No, I don't feel very hungry or thirsty.
Yeah, this place does that. I don't know why.
And almost to themselves, the doctor in the back says, "It is the great blessing, the one in the void, the final blessing." And like has like, just seems to be just like saying it more towards himself. Like, obviously, I've said this like 8 times, but nobody listens.
That's true.
And that is when we are going to then cut away to the docks in one of the military wards that you all had arrived back in. And as Al, Cori, and Arjhan are waving goodbye to their Yankee companions, Bill, Ted, Deacon, and Matt, Rasa, the red dragon, had arrived yet again and informed you all that she had received word that Caelum had awoken. And very quickly you all hopped onto her back and she made the ascent towards the floating castle of Queen Vlakith. And as you arrive, Rasa tries her best to follow you inside of the castle, but it is not built specifically for the insides to sustain the movement of red dragons, so she can only go so far, but lets you know that she will be waiting for you at this area if any of you would like to leave or have any reason to be in need of her. She is ready and willing. One of the medical staff of this ward will then approach the 3 of you, and together your group follows them to where you had left Gwen. There had been kind of an initial split, but following some of these pathways, you are able to make your way towards. You see that there's a one Yankee medic with arms kind of crossed, looking in towards a room. And as your group arrives, they put their hands together in front of themselves, respectfully bow towards your group, and they motion inward. And Cori, you had said that you wanted to switch to spring form, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But that would take like a short rest to do so.
I would say you would have a short rest's worth of time.
On the way there?
Yeah.
All right, she'll do that then.
Okay. So, Caelum, you are sitting on the bed looking out the window as Gwen is rallying off places and things that you might remember, what you might not remember. She's just kind of doing a general test to see what is and what isn't at this point. And that is when Cori, Al, and Arjhan, the lot of you can see into this room. And you see Caelum is looking a little weathered, shall we say. What is everyone's initial reaction to seeing the boy?
He just, under his breath, whispers, "Caelum."
Caelum's head, like a meerkat, just bolts to the door.
And Caelum, you see Cori, you see Arjhan, and you see an individual wearing a mask.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
That seems to be standing with your group.
It is the quickest slide off the bed, and a guiding bolt starts to appear in his hands as he's aiming it towards Al.
Whoa, hey, Al, take off your mask! Take off your mask!
Yeah, Cori will move between the two of them.
He's fine. He's a defector.
And
Caelum,
Cori,
this is...
when you see Caelum go to cast this guiding bolt, just as Gwen had seen when he began charging up a spell to use on the Githyanki doctor, these almost varicose-like veins that creep up his neck and extend around his face just begin to glow with this almost sickly purple energy. And there is very much a dark vibe that comes from him.
I see. Is it a familiar dark vibe?
To you at this point, yes.
Cool. Cori moves between Caelum and Al. Like she's got her hand out in front of her towards Caelum, like she's Pratt keeping him. And she's like, Caelum, this is Arjhan. He's a friend.
Arjhan's hands are on his crossbow.
Divine sense.
The boy reeks of undead.
Undead as fuck. Okay.
Yes.
I think that like there's a moment of surprise from Cori, and she glances back at Arjhan briefly before she takes a couple of tentative steps towards Caelum.
I don't know what's happening here.
Is he cool with her approaching, or like, because she's not going to come any closer if he like doesn't look cool with this?
It's a very... He still has his fist trained on you, but the magic isn't there.
I think that tears brim in her eyes, and she says, Caelum?
I've already done this with Gwen, but tell me something only you would know.
She blinks and a tear slips down her cheek, and she says, when we first met, you face-stepped, and you said, I can do that too.
He'll turn to Arjhan.
Whenever I asked you to go find me research on alchemy, you returned with a whole bunch of notes, and one of those said that a mixture of asphodel and wormwood would reduce the drought of the living dead. And that was bullshit. And you cross that out.
His hand flexes. I guess that'll have to do for now.
You and Cori made an egg baby.
What?
Yeah, you and Cori made that egg baby. I'm just going
That
through the list.
The
That
two
was a long-
Githyanki doctors are like, obviously, all babies come from eggs.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then you jumped out a window.
Gwen already
Yeah.
said that.
Yeah.
Caelum, I'm so sorry. We came as soon as we knew.
Yeah.
Speaking of, she's going to glance at Arjhan. We should check to make sure. We have to be certain.
Do you want me to cut his fucking arm off?
That's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, hey.
What the hells? cast Identify on him.
But my character sheet doesn't have that anymore.
Fuck!
But we'll go up and say that I cast Identify.
Yep. I'm here for it. There is no simulacrum spell affecting the Caelum.
Cool.
Are there any other spells affecting him?
You detect the presence of a very powerful, irrevocable necromantic spell. Being the one that turned him into what he currently is.
No simulacrum.
See? You're good.
But Arjhan, there's clearly something that he's not saying and something that is clearly bothering him.
Alright. If you're all who you say you're all. Where's my shield?
Here. And Arjhan is going to go into his bag of holding and give Caelum his effects.
And when the shield is pulled out, Caelum, you know that this is your shield, but it doesn't have the markings of saloon on it. It doesn't have the face of a large barn owl. It just looks like this pool of blackness ringed with that has a purple ring along the outsides.
Do we see this?
Yeah.
Well, that's sure something to worry about.
Hey.
Harley. Surely not.
Turn into Irish pirates.
He will gingerly take the shield and sit down, lay it out in his lap. What happened?
We tell him the whole story.
Okay. Al, are you just sticking around listening to this?
I'll let
Hanging
them
out?
have their moment. He just rogue lean on the door, mask like hanging off the side of his head. So you guys traveled around with a fake me for a while?
It was very convincing.
Yeah, sorry we didn't notice.
We literally had to die to find out.
You died.
You and I. Or him and I.
Cori, you died again?
It wasn't fine, actually. Oliviette had quite a fright. You did too. He did. It's all been
It
very
did?
confusing.
All right. Is there anything I can do to try and poke Samaris out of the shield?
You can try and make a religion check.
Does being in the astral sea do anything to that religion check?
You'd give it disadvantage. Because you're not near a moon.
Great. It's God
What
bless
is
this
the plane
boy.
of dreams if not one really big moon?
If I drop trow and flash my butt at the shield,
Oh god. Then you would get a restraining order.
That's a child and not okay.
even with the disadvantage, dirty 20.
Okay. You know that Amaris is only ever coaxable in the presence of moonlight? There does not seem to be any in this place.
Cori, could you Cast a moonbeam.
That's a really bad idea, Caelum. Doesn't that light shit on fire?
We can do it outside then.
Caelum, she's gonna reach out and put a hand over his. That wouldn't be a good idea. Especially not near you.
Why?
Oh fuck. She glances back at Arjhan again. Caelum, you're undead.
You know, when they had me, I tried to fight as long as I could, but kind of went into myself. But Amaris was there, and she kept telling me that soon you guys would be there. And then she left. I had an inkling when, well, I was awake, and they pulled something out of me. So it's possible, yeah. I guess I am undead.
In the end, Caelum, we came to save you, but you saved yourself.
Sorry for causing all the trouble.
It's not your fault.
It's not.
So how do we get out of here?
Oh, that's a good question. She turns back to Arjhan. The queen said that she would help us, right?
Yeah, she did.
She looks back and forth between Caelum and Arjhan for a moment, and she says, "Excuse me." She's gonna stand up and kind of walk Arjhan over to the door. Al is also there, but she's going to ignore him. And she's going to say, "Listen, I know that you're not comfortable working with her in her condition, but I will make sure that she stays true to her word."
Yeah, okay. Just... I can't fucking do this. I can't fucking do this. And Arjhan's gonna walk out.
Okay. She's gonna, like, I think that she just had that very private conversation in front of Al. She's just gonna look at him for a second and just go, okay. And she's going to follow Arjhan.
You need help.
I imagine Al says something snarky, like gonna try and save face, and just like puts the mask back over.
He tries to say, "Do you need help?" But just like, nope, above my pay grade.
Okay. Sounds good. So Arjhan is heading out. Cori, you are following after. Arjhan, where are you heading to?
Outside to get some quote unquote fresh air.
Okay.
Or whatever astral equivalent there is.
Okay. And when you get to the area, Rasa is there as well, and she just sort of like sits up a little bit more, seeing you exit, but she is very visibly a little confused, seeing only one of you exit.
I mean, it's Cori behind me.
Yeah. Cori, you said that you were following after Arjhan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would say that Cori is still, at this point, following you. So Rasa sees the two of you. And in Draconic, she will say, "Is everything all right?"
No, it's not.
She'll kind of tilt her head with curiosity.
Do I notice Cori following me?
Cori, are you trying to hide your followings at all?
Not necessarily.
Then I would say, yeah, you very clearly hear Cori following after you.
You should really be back with Caelum. I just... And he looks visibly like flustered and stressed.
She'll just walk up and stand behind him. What's wrong?
Everything about this is wrong. And I'm afraid if I don't get some distance between myself and all of you right now, I can't promise that we're all going to be okay.
What do you mean?
You really don't get it. All of my life, I've had to clean up the mess left behind of people who thought that they could control the undead. I've seen villages leveled because a man couldn't accept that his daughter was gone. I've seen a woman choke out a plea for my mentor to finish her because a ghost army she raised to a task-fast score thought to use her as an overstuffed puppet. Now you're stuck in a perpetual state of dying, at the mercy of a goddess who ripped you apart, and also have this shadow goddess thing going on. Gwen's binding the souls of even more dead Goliaths to fight for her. And after traveling for weeks to get Caelum back, after more weeks of not knowing he was missing, we finally get him back to find out his soul has been ripped out of his now withering body whenever he was being controlled, and we're still stuck in a city ruled by another undead queen who we are at the mercy of to get back home. Everything about what's going on is making my skin crawl, and while every fiber of my being is telling me to act, I can't. So I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to sort things out for myself until I'm okay. I'll tell you that I would be okay, but nothing about this makes me feel okay. So just give me an hour.
Cori listens to all of this, and then she just sort of lowers her eyes and says, okay. She turns to walk away, and then she stops, and she looks up at Arjhan. She says, we're still your friends. An hour. And she'll walk to the door and watch him leave.
Okay. And Arjhan, as you are preparing to leave, Rasa will approach you and in Draconic just asks if you need to go anywhere.
Place to think.
And she nods and says, "Follow me." And she will take flight and just soar into the air.
I am very slow, so I'm gonna get on her back.
Okay. She will allow you to get onto her back, and then together the two of you fly. And she soars over the city and begins making her way towards the dragon caverns again. And along the way, she will inquire to you as to what the conversation between you and Cori was about. She's not necessarily going to poke, but she is curious.
I'll relay the gist of it.
She will nod.
That I prefer my dead things being dead.
And she agrees and says to the effect that there is nothing that infuriates her more than when she burns a group of skeletons and watches them rise back up. She feels like that's cheating. And the two of you sail deeper into these dragon caves, and it takes what feels like a decent amount of time to actually reach this inner chamber. And when you arrive, you can see that it is not claimed by any particular dragon. There is no personal horde, there is no personal nest, there is just this empty chamber. And at the far end of it, you see a monolith of epic proportions standing that looks like it extends into 5 distinct heads. And even though you are so far from the city streets and so far removed from any of the other cave systems, you can hear what sounds like a song that seems to fill this chamber and almost seems to emanate from this statue. And Rasa says, when her great ancestor, Aphelamon, first made the pact on behalf of the queen with Gith and Vlakith, this was the chamber that the pact was formed in. And the red dragons have since that time come here when they need to calm themselves and re-find their center. And she believes that if you are looking for a place to think, if you were looking for a place to be beside yourself in, that this would be the perfect place to do it. And Arjhan, as you're listening to the music, you've seen one of the Crowned Goddess's live performances before. It was very bombastic and boisterous, and each one of the individual heads seemed to have their own particular style. But in this chamber, it almost sounds like an acoustic demo of what you would know Tiamat to be otherwise. There is no crowds of cheering people. There's no extra background instruments or vocals. It is just the voice of the goddess. And as Rasa says, it begins to help kind of bring a sense of clarity. But with that clarity, you begin to think about all of the things that have begun, or that you've been through over the last several series of months. Tarlean, the Cult of Tyrants, being named as the Herald of the Black, the arrival of Kendek, and all that has transpired with the Blood Hunters. And as you are thinking of all of these culminating things, and the music is reaching a fever pitch, did you have anything that you would like to add?
Yeah. Well, as this, like, the end is just, like, compounding in his mind, he like gets a little bit flustered and is looking on this monolith, and he's gonna interconic keep talking to Rasa. At one point he was my patron, my progenitor, my father. Whenever he was talking about the Queen, he always said she would have our backs. She would help us be what we were meant to. I don't fucking know what I'm meant to be. From the moment Tarlean came into my life, I'd been confused about what I am, what I'm supposed to be. I don't even know how much of me is left anymore. He was supposed to give me the power to keep my friends safe, and that's clearly not happened. Now he's back in hell. Tiamat, after finally talking to the right aspects of her, she was supposed to do the same. And I've never felt more weak than trying to get my friend back. I don't know how much of that's just me, or me getting wrapped up in all these different packs, like my life isn't my own. Like my life is in the hands of some idiot who can't make up his fucking mind.
And Arjhan, as you cough,
That's it, is it?
as you cough, you get a split-second migraine. And as it occurs, your vision flashes before you, and you are standing in snow. And in the sky above you, there are 5 glowing rectangles with humanoid faces looking down upon you. This is a memory that you had from your first encounter in the Holiday Nexus. And you feel your vision drawn towards one of those rectangles in particular, and as you do, a question that has plagued you for months resurfaces. Who am I? But the question is met in tandem with another question from this figure beyond the penetrating glow. Who are you? The image stutters before you as you feel a taste of iron in the back of your throat, and as you begin to cough up blood, and with each cough, that question permeates stronger and more loudly until you are able to finally open your eyes. The chorus of the crowned goddess echoing all around you, and staring down beneath you in pools of your own coughed up blood you see the skull-like visage of a black draconian staring back at you. And as you watch as your own mouth forms the words, "Who are you?" It is at that point that you see the blood beneath you begin to ripple and bubble centered beneath where you are staring, and you look on as this winged black draconian that you recognize as yourself rises from the blood. Rasa is not here. It is just this dark space that seems to have a center spotlight down on you and this bloody echo of yourself. What do you do?
What's it gonna be?
What'd you say?
Arjhan just whispers under his breath, like, "What's it gonna be?" Like he's sort of trying to gauge what this blood thing of himself is gonna do.
And you hear the blood version of yourself say, "I'm you, but better." And they are going to bring up a bloodied claw, and they are going to attempt to strike you. I need you to roll initiative.
It's so close to a natural 25.
Okay. So this creature is going to be able to attack onto you first, and they are going to attempt to strike. That is a 16 to hit.
Just misses.
Okay. Second attack. A 19.
That'll hit.
Okay, so you are then going to take 9 points of bludgeoning damage as this large bloody mitt just clashes into you.
Okay.
All right, that is all that they can do for their turn.
So his first instinct is, well, this creature certainly has blood, and is going to attempt to use his blood maledict, but can't. I'm gonna take a couple shots.
Okay,
That's 21 hit
a 21 does hit.
for 12 points of piercing damage.
Okay. And as the piercing, as this bolt sinks into this blood form of you, it doesn't look like it's dealing as much damage as you would think.
Natural 1.
Okay, that does not hit. Okay. So is there anything else that you would like to do?
Fly up and back.
Okay. They are going to try and make an attack of opportunity. And that is a 19 on the die for 7 points of bludgeoning. And as you are flying in the air, they look up towards you and they begin to try and fly as well. And there is a... Normally the sound of leathered wings is very formidable, but this is almost like a wet sound of flapping as these blood wings try to ascend out of the pool. And it doesn't look like it gets as far up as you do. And it is going to then try and close in on you. But in doing so, it has to use its extra action to get up. So there in the air now is the Arjhan of blood, and then our friend Arjhan. And that is it for its turn.
Yeah, I'm gonna take another couple crossbow shots at it once I scooch back a little bit. So we might be able to get another attack opportunity.
Okay, they will try. That is an 11.
Nope. My crossbow shots, those are magical, right?
Yes.
It's come from a magic weapon.
Yes. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, so the original one would have been fine.
Okay. This is a 20 to hit
That'll totally hit.
for 8 points of piercing damage. Natural 20
That'll certainly hit.
for 11 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
Why not? Let's take an action surge. 20,
Okay, that'll hit.
14 points. Uh, 29
29 hits.
for 10 points.
Okay. Description-wise, this creature was bloody, but now, mechanics-wise, it is most certainly bloodied. And you see...
And I think that's
this-
it for me.
Huh?
I think that's it for me.
Okay. This bloodied version of you see is going to roar towards you, and as they look at you, they extend their claws outward, and you see these flames begin to wreath around their claws, and it looks like this creature of pure blood, the flames are drawing the blood towards them. Very similar to how your blood hunter abilities were previously manifested, and they are going to once again try and fly towards you, and they will once again just get right up towards you, but it looks like they have to use the majority of their action to just get there.
That's fine. I'm gonna, since we're like up in the air at this point, I'm gonna like fly down and under him and try and take a couple shots, but he'll get an attack of opportunity.
Okay. So that is a 19.
Which will hit.
Okay. For 10 points of bludgeoning. And 3 points of fire. You're still here. But making some pops.
Yeah, does a 14 hit.
Oh, sorry. 14 just hits.
7 points of piercing.
Okay.
27 will hit.
Yep.
4, 5.
Okay.
For bonus action, I'm gonna use second wind.
Okay.
Nothing's wrong. I just want hit points, and I'll get 20 back.
That seems pretty solid.
You go.
So, a creature is going to fold in their wings and just plummet down towards you. And as they do, as they come into contact with you, they are going to sink their claws onto you. And I need you to make a Constitution save as they use the Blood Drain ability.
19.
19? All right. So... So you're separated from this creature's space, and that is it. They have tried to use their big ability this turn, but it did not go. Now it is your turn. As once again, they have kind of like collided onto you, but you are now 5 feet apart.
I'm gonna like try to crocodile roll and like wing up so that hopefully they get off of me and I'll put some distance between us.
Yeah.
They'll get an attack of opportunity.
Okay. Yeah, they were not able to successfully grapple you, and I don't believe that a 13 hits.
But a 17 will hit them.
Yes.
For 7 points of piercing. And a 16 will also hit them.
Yes.
For 9 points of piercing.
Okay. Sounds good. So, how is Arjhan looking?
On a scale from 1 to 113, 104.
Okay. Sounds good. This blood version of yourself is having a very difficult time holding itself together, and you can see that it doesn't need to breathe, obviously, but its chest is heaving, and it looks like it has ragged breath, even though it doesn't need oxygen. And it is then going to try and rush towards you in this act of desperation to try and make a series of attacks against you. So, a modified 20 hits.
Yep.
But an 8 won't. And that is for 10 points of bludgeoning damage and 3 points of fire damage.
Again, sort of Avatar Aang with a crossbow style. He's just gonna try and like circle to get some distance between us, and back out, and try and get just a couple more shots off of him.
Okay, that's a natural 1 on the attack of opportunity, so...
And that's a natural 2 for my attack, which will not hit.
Okay.
But a 19 will. For 13 points.
Okay, so... Before this crossbow shot fires, you hear the same question that has plagued your mind once again asked. Who are you? And this ragged creature looks before you. This is the final shot that you will need to take to down this creature. How does Arjhan answer the question?
I don't know yet. I'll find out. I don't know if that came through on the mic at all.
It did. You're good.
Okay.
And this crossbow
Welcome to your new
bolt...
home. Welcome to your new home, bitch.
Okay. And as this crossbow bolt penetrates this bloodied mass, it just dissipates from the point of impact, kind of spraying down a rain of this old blood that seemed to have coalesced into this form. And as you come back down onto the ground and look at the place where this creature once stood, the light begins to... The spotlight around you begins to fade, and the darkened area around you begins to return to being the cavern. And at the end, you see once again this statue to Tiamat looking down on you, and you see, and you can gauge from the statue that it is an inanimate object, but there is a feeling of it being pleased.
So I said the activation phrase for the Iron Flask.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So, Iron Flask, what is the DC?
17.
Slorp. The creature fails. So, this bloodied creature enters into the Iron Flask. And as we've said earlier, the lights return. You are inside this cavern. This statue is exuding a emotional conveyance of being pleased as this song continues, and Rasa just sort of leans in towards you and asks, "What did you see?"
I don't bloody know.
And she will nod. And as she nods, that is where we are going to go into our break for the evening. So I would like to say thank you to everybody who decided to stop by and join us for this wonderful excursion in the city of Tunarath. We are going to try and be back in 5 to 10 minutes, so don't go no place unless it is to grab a food, grab a drink, grab a friend, or possibly go to indooradventure.redbubble.com. Pick yourself up something nice, and we'll see you guys shortly. All right, everybody. See you soon! And we're back!
Steven!
Oh, yes?
So for those of you who missed it, Arjhan was fighting himself and it was all bloody, and then he was like, well, the blood him was like, I'm you but better, but then Arjhan was like, bold words for someone within crossbow range, and then he put him inside the flask, and I was like, ooh, that boy needs some milk.
All right, our musical midpoint recap. I'm here for it. I'm okay with this.
I'm gonna pee.
And hello, everybody, and welcome back. Arjhan has just gotten done defeating a bloody version of himself and then stuffing him inside of the iron flask. And we are going to go back towards our group in them's castle. So, Cori, you have been left at the Eyrie. Gwen and Caelum are up with Arjhan in the medical bay. You had messaged me during the break. You wanted to do a thing with Cori before making your way back to the group. So let's dig into it. Let's explore the space.
So Cori watches Arjhan leave, just kind of forlornly. And then she turns around, starts walking back down the hall to rejoin her friends. And as she does so, her spring season flickers. And she puts a hand to her face, and she drops to her raven form, and she just punches a wall. And she looks down at her hand, kind of looks up in a panic back towards where her friends are going to be. And then she looks back at her hand and focuses. And slowly her spring season returns to her. And then she composes herself and rejoins her friends.
Okay. Sounds good.
Can she do that without a will save?
Let's find out. So, Cori, would you like to make the will save for me?
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to step on your moment.
23.
Okay. It's good. All right, so after dropping to this ravened form and then switching back, you make your way into this med bay room. What was Arjhan doing this whole time?
Looks over to Gwen and Caelum, and he just thumbs out the door and like makes a little walking motion with his fingers.
Wait. She's gonna move over to him and like make him come down to her level.
There's a way to get his soul back, right? I mean, it was just like ripped out of him. Souls go places. It's not like they disappear.
I mean, I don't know what Discovery and whoever the fuck got dusted with doing to him. I don't know that sort of thing.
Oh. Okay. Have fun on your walk. Just don't get fucking abducted or, something.
One of the medical staff will lean down towards you, Gwen, and say, "Did you have medical questions?"
No. Thank you. I'm fine.
And they will
Again, I appreciate your assistance, but please leave me alone.
And they will steep their fingers together and just give you a gentle bow. And then just stand a pleasant 10 feet away from you.
I'm sorry. Gwen keeps on asking medical questions to her friends, and then like the medical staff come up. Okay, you know exactly what you're talking.
All right. So Al, as you are going to begin just kind of exploring around the castle a little bit to give you your new friends some time with their old traveling companion, you see Cori walking down the hall towards you, once again in her spring form, and Arjhan is not with her.
Where'd the boss go?
He needs some time alone.
All right. Well, I'll be taking a walk on the grounds. If you all need me, I'll be back in 15, 20.
All right. Be careful.
Lest I get abducted or some shit.
One of the medical staff will actually follow after you, Arjhan, as you're walking. And Cori, you and Gwen just hear the echoing question of, do you require any medical assistance?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
And
don't you have someone to attend?
This is one of the other doctors. This is not his primary care physician.
I'm gonna ask, don't you have someone you need to attend to?
Oh, many. But you are quite curious.
Is there something on my face?
Yes. It makes it very hard to see your current expressions. Thankfully, I have spent many spans understanding common speakers and their vocal inflections. That one was sarcasm. I have used it before, all but 3 times.
Well, this has been lovely. Excuse me. Starts walking faster.
And they just continue to follow you. So, Cori, you end up making your way back to the room with Gwen and Caelum. What would you guys like to do now that you have the space to yourself, with only one of the members of the medical staff still outside, but just to make sure that everything is going smoothly?
What's wrong with Arjhan? Sorry.
He needs some time alone.
Why?
We've been through a lot in the past few days.
You mean like you guys, when you left? What were you doing? I mean, I know what you were doing, but like, what happened? Sorry.
Oh, well, we met some young fellows named Bill and Ted, and we went on a most excellent adventure.
I mean, more details will be fine, but I guess that's cool.
I fill in Gwen on the illicit adventure.
Okay.
Oh shit. And that's why Arjhan's being all down in the dumps.
I'm not sure. I'll talk to him once he's had some time to cool down.
Should I talk to him as like a third party? Didn't go on the fancy adventure?
It might not be a bad idea. I might be part of the problem.
Oh. What'd you do?
Nothing.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, no, I'll talk to him. So about Caelum's soul. We can get that back, right?
It depends on where it is.
Oh. Caelum, you want your soul back, right?
I'm aware of the process, correct?
Yeah.
I'm aware of what I am.
Yeah.
Wait, you're missing your soul?
Yeah, they they did some experiments. I was aware when they were doing it. I think I saw the tiefling stuff it into a doll.
What sort of doll?
Wooden figurine, kind of looked like me. Assuming.
I'm gonna pull
Indoor.
Gwen. I'm gonna pull Gwen aside. Didn't we see something like that on fire?
I don't remember.
Don't you need your soul? I don't understand.
I mean, not really. As far as I know about this whole thing, it's like there's two parts of you. There's your physical being, and then there's your soul. And if your soul's gone, then he shouldn't be able to be normal Caelum. So I know nothing. I don't know anything, I guess. Because the spirits that are inside me, I thought those were souls, but like they're like dead, so their bodies are gone. So maybe it works the other way, that when your soul's taken from you, your body's still cool and it's still part of you. You just don't have that life.
This is an ethics discussion I'm not equipped to participate in.
I mean, still Caelum, right? Right?
Just has his shield in his lap and he's looking down at it.
How do you feel?
A little tired, I guess.
All right. Is your memory all right?
There are some dark spots here and there, but he has a realization on his face. I did a lot of bad things.
It wasn't you.
I think I killed Brother Groon.
What?
And the, what was it, the tribunal? The Quill.
It was the
Deeds
Brotherhood
with
of
the
Stars.
Brotherhood of Stars. And the Brotherhood of Stars are also gone.
Then who's protecting the library?
Saloon?
You haven't returned to the Library of Saloon since then.
Not that I could recall. I don't think I can go back.
You should make sure that you're ready before you do something like that.
Oh God, it's Farron.
What do you remember about Farron?
I remember attacking him and bringing him to the laboratory.
Did we get him out?
He became Jackal.
Yeah, we don't know if he's okay.
Oh, the other guys stayed back
Or-
with him.
No, not Jackal. Hyena.
Uh-huh.
She's going to put a hand on Caelum and say, the last time we saw him, he was wearing one of those masks. And he wasn't speaking with his own voice. We don't
Took
know.
something.
We don't know what's happened to him.
But his friends are with him.
When we get out of here, I'll try sending
Oh, can you cast sendings from other planes out of character?
Kinda, sorta. There's like a chance of it getting lost.
Okay. There's a look of realization in Cori's eyes, and then she puts that away. Now is not the time to ask to talk to her girlfriend.
You can't talk to your girlfriend.
Hey, what do you want to do now? Once we get out of here.
I think I need a break.
That's understandable.
Take a vacation. You go up to Greenreach or back to the coast. I mean, we're back. Welcome back on our ask, so we could go there and have a
We're
beach
not
party.
banished anymore. We rescued our ask from later.
What?
Yes.
A lot happened.
Do you start filling Caelum in on all of the
Yeah.
events that transpired while you were hanging out with Simulacrum?
Simulacrum. Yes, indeed. We do that.
Okay,
We fill in Caelum on all of the events.
gotcha. And I would say it is at that time, it is during that time that we will go back to Arjhan. So Arjhan, you are in this cavern with Rasa. Is there anything that you would like to do before making your way back to your friends in the floating castle?
Yeah. So Arjhan has just lost a lot of blood. And I think just with that little like lightheaded sensation in the back of his head, he's going to breathe just a little bit harder, and just like sort of raise his head up and take aspect of the dragon.
Okay.
And it's sort of like this, those power-up sequences in anime where someone just like, and they got like it's a little like shockwave that comes out from around them.
Yeah.
That sort of like spiral thing. Imagine that, but with like acid.
Ooh.
And Arjhan just like breathes out acid, and it's a very similar experience to Kindek, what Kindek did at the campfire.
Rasa will preen a little bit, just like she kind of like chirps a little unexpectedly watching this.
And they'll let it drop. Okay then. Rasa.
And she kind of like blinks a few times, shakes her head, like snaps back to the here and now of what she is seeing, and is attentive towards you.
He's going to take out the iron flask.
She will look at it.
Can you keep this safe for me?
And her eyes get very large, and she looks at you and says, "This is not my treasure."
No, but I think it has a living blood construct of me within it, and I would very much like it to not get into anybody's hands.
And she nods. And will offer to take you back to her chamber, so that way you can put it somewhere safe within the horde.
Okay.
Happy Pride, everybody. And so she flies you back into her chamber, and she begins to kind of root through all of her treasures and her personal hoard. And as she is looking, pulls out it's like a box that's close to a reliquary, but when she opens it, you can see that there are two decks of cards that are placed next to each other, and she just sort of like looses the cards onto the ground, and you can see that it is a 3-dragon anti-set. And she will approach you and just like holding the lid of the box in her large red dragon mouth, and then just sets it down in front of you, and says that this would be a good safe place for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just put the flask in the box.
Before you do, there is a quick snap as one of her large claws shuts the box before you're able to put it in, and she says, "A trade. I did not work for this in my hoard. I cannot accept gifts."
Okay. I mean,
And
I was giving it to you freely, but...
And at that, you see that she kind of rears back and says, "You insult my honor. One does not simply give a gift to a red. We take what is ours. But a trade, this is something we can do." And she looks at you, and you can see that there's she's doing like a quick scan over you and you see that she's muttering something. And she will then go over to her hoard, and she starts quickly sifting through piles of treasure, and starts like putting her nose into the treasure as well to kind of help just move it out of the way. And eventually, after about 5 minutes or so, and the box that you could put the iron flask in is like, she didn't take it with her, it's just sitting on the ground in front of you. But she comes back with, it is a heavy crossbow with a large stock of what looks like a deep rosewood that has a collapsible bow on the front of it where the arms would be, but you don't see a space for any strings to actually attach with it. And she says, "When I was a whelp on my first journeys, I was saved by a man I met who reminded me of you. They told me that I could keep this, for as they had saved me, I saved them. I will trade you this for your flask."
If that's what you see fit.
And she has a look of pride on her as you say this, and she nods. And Arjhan, when you take hold of this heavy crossbow, and Rasa, and you put the iron flask in the small box that Rasa then stuffs back into her treasure hoard, it feels incredibly comfortable in your arms, not in the same way that your current crossbow was, but in the same way that if you use a baseball bat enough times, when you pick up that baseball bat again, it just kind of feels right when you hold it. This feels like there are grooves on it that your claws rest perfectly in. And when you look at the length of this crossbow, you can see a word that is written in Elven along the length of the bow. What languages do you speak?
Abyssal, Common, Draconic, and Infernal.
Okay. So there is a word that is written in Elven. And Rasa will tell you that the name of this crossbow is Patience.
Patience. Thank you, Rasa.
And she will nod, and you see her kind of like lightly step back and forth a little bit, just kind of like patting at the ground. And she says, this trait has been amenable. And she kind of like has a little self-satisfied head wiggle to herself.
Shit, has it been an hour?
And she shrugs. She's not familiar with the passage of time here, but she nods and says, it is probably time you return to your friends.
I don't nod. Thank you for bringing me here.
And she has a almost sheepish smile for a red dragon and says, of course, I honor the old pact, just as my ancestors did.
And we'll head back to the hospital.
Okay. Caelum, your group is resting here in this medical chamber for quite some time. And Gwen, as you are looking out the window, you see Arjhan riding on the back of this adult red dragon that seems to be making its way to the landing area. And you see him kind of get off, and Rasa once again kind of nods and says, if there's anything that you would need, she is here to assist. And Arjhan, you are seen making your way into this building. And after about 5 minutes or so, you end up encountering Al, who looks reasonably lost and has, at this point, 3 different medical professionals following behind him, asking if he needs any assistance, if he knows anyone who needs assistance.
No, there's just, water and snacks. Do you have those here? Could you fetch me some?
And they look, and like one of them, like hands on the forehead. Water! Is that what you need?
Yes.
I get it now. And that one ends up leaving, and the other 2 are like, bring out little notebooks. Water, yes, water. And like they are writing down this note.
He will look over to Arjhan if he's noticed him and mouth, help me.
Okay, what the fuck is going on?
I don't know. These guys keep following me. They're asking if I need any medical attention. I guess.
Okay. I guess they've never met anybody like us. The others all right?
Yes, I saw Coriander walking into the room not too long ago.
You about ready to go back home?
Oh, please.
Yeah, let's get everybody and talk to this queen.
He'll
Lead the
lightly
way.
punch Arjhan on the arm. Only a few more minutes. He'll be fine.
Okay. And your group is, and the two of you are able to make it back towards your group's medical ward chamber. You are all now reunited.
Does it feel any good?
Gwen will approach Arjhan when he comes in the room. You doing all right, big guy?
I guess so.
Word fangirl, thank you for the raid!
Woo! I don't have any
Network
kittens right
error.
here. I'm sorry.
Oh! That's a good.
I think I'm all right. I don't know. We should go. We should head home. How's
Yeah.
everybody?
I can
How
talk
are we
to
gonna do that?
I can talk to the queen if you'd like, Arjhan.
I can face the queen.
All right.
Caelum, you up for a walk?
I think a bit of a walk would do me some good. I'm in a nightgown.
Look good. All your stuff's in the.
We
on
gave you your
bed.
I
clothes.
gave
Yeah.
you your clothes.
Okay,
You've got all your shit.
You'll start donning his armor.
Gwen will watch.
Nice. All right, so happy Pride, everybody. Caelum has finished gearing up, and you all are going to ask your med staff if you can go and see to the queen at this point.
We don't ask.
Just take us there. And the medical staff is like, this doesn't seem like a medical emergency, but I'll do it anyways. And they are more than willing to help your party. They do also ask questions. They seem to be offering plenty of water at this point. They have gotten a memo. It would appear that these guests want water, quite a significant portion. And you all are then escorted by these Githyanki that go from medical staff to what look to be full-blown warriors. They have large silvered greatswords at their on their backs or at their sides, and they are much more of like a royal guard styling to their overall armors and protective gear. And you are eventually led back into the throne room of Vlaakith. And as you enter into this throne room, Caelum, this is your first time entering into such a place. And you see this rather... It's very odd. She has almost like a young demeanor, but an old way of presenting herself. You can tell that this creature, regardless of the age that she has forward facing, has survived lifetimes off of nothing but a singular drive to propel herself through to the next span.
And she's sitting on the skull throne, correct?
She is sitting on a throne of very odd cephalopod malformed skulls. And she has a silvered sword on her right hand that is tip side down into the stone. And you can see that it looks like there are like break marks in the stone where she has just stabbed this sword into it, which is quite a feat of strength. And in her left hand, she has this scepter that looks like a draconic face with rubies for its eyes. And her robe is just outfitted with an innumerable amount of gems, some of which seem to look towards you. And if anything, the most drawing feature is this kind of dark iron crown that she wears that seems to almost feed off of any kind of animosity or angst.
Oh, cool. Because I was about to say, if Arjhan lets him, Caelum will step behind Arjhan and like peek out from the side.
Absolutely.
And this figure with this kind of sheer fabric veil over the lower half of her face looks at your group and says, "Ah, it's very good to see all of you again. I would like to say first and foremost, thank you for your help with our young ones. I hope that you have found our medical staff to be helpful in their preparations."
We've been well hydrated.
She nods. "I have heard."
They are trying their best. Your Grace, we've done what you've asked. We would like to go back to our home. Arjhan is once again assuming that deadpan thing, because clearly all the animosity is being ripped out of him.
And she gives a steady nod and says, "This is something that I can do. I have but one request: to help as an assistant. I could return you back to your plane, but I have no knowledge of where exactly to send you back to. It is easiest if you access the same point where you left as your return."
I can provide the runes needed. We'd be probably back in the castle, but it's something.
You know that you didn't leave from the castle.
Oh.
You had entered into the astral plane from the temple.
But I do have the runes to the castle memorized.
I mean, Caelum may know the answer to this question better than I do, but do you still have teleportation circle, and can that cross planar boundaries?
Planar boundaries, no. I do have teleportation circle.
Which cannot cross planar boundaries.
We need planar shift.
Oh my god, it's so good to have a wizard in the party again.
That's okay, right?
I mean, yeah, Arjhan's going to turn to Caelum. And you see that same dead expression because all the animosity is being ripped out. Would that be okay, Caelum?
If it gets us home.
I mean, if it's not okay, if we just find our way back to somewhere else on the material plane, would you be able to get us back to, I don't know, Olivia's ship or somewhere close?
I would have to check my spell book. When I was with them, I memorized at least 1 or 2 places, but I should have the runes for Olivia's ship still in there.
Okay. And that was the spell book that you had left with the dude on Arathsk to gain a more familiar sense for the purposes of sending, correct?
Oh yeah.
Was it, or was that?
Didn't you
His
have
journal
two?
and his journal and spellbook are the same thing. That's why he had to transcribe everything onto new pages to
We
send
had
to
kind of a
Cora's dad.
continuity issue there because when we left it, we thought it was just his journal. But then we found out later that his journal is his spellbook.
It's not a continuity error on my behalf. This is great. Y'all don't ask question of your wizard.
I mean,
The
we
funny
could
thing,
in
you
the
could always
moment.
just pull it out because you put it in the bag of holding that links to our bank accounts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or no, he didn't, but
No.
no. You guys could then contact the other guy, ask him to make a deposit, and then you would be... We'll figure it out. So,
The thing
There's
is,
some
right?
logistics there.
The thing is,
Let's just go back to the fucking place we left, guys. I really don't want to get stuck like halfway around the world and then we have to like trek it back.
Caelum, is there any reason that we should not go back to the place where we entered here?
Other than it's the Library of Shar.
Hey, she seemed pretty chill.
She is the enemy of my goddess.
Yeah. Right.
She is the keeper of dark secrets and dark knowledge.
So clearly you're uncomfortable.
Oh,
Yes.
wait,
Do you
was that
want-
on the material plane?
No, that's
Else
astral.
here.
So do we have to go to the astral plane to go back to the material plane?
We're in the astral
We
plane.
are in the astral plane.
Vlakith just sort of chuckles at this.
So can you send us back to the material plane, like where we came to the astral plane?
She nods.
All right, sweet. So there's no problem. We're not going over to the library thing. We're going back to like the ruins, right?
But if we want to get back to Alira, we need to go back to the library since that's where we entered the astral plane.
Do you remember
Oh.
the teleportation circle? That teleportation circle didn't take us to the astral plane. It took us to the library.
Which is on the astral plane.
Wrong library.
So, there is the
Here we go.
Please
ruins.
explain to me.
There is the ruins / the Temple of Saloon. You guys saw a big door. It was spooky. You went through the door. You then found yourself on the Astral Sea. If you then traveled through the Astral Sea, found Library of Shar. So what Vlakith is offering is to return you back to the ruins where the door was initially there.
What I'm saying.
But we need to go back to the library to hit that portal.
Do we
No.
need to do
No.
that?
No.
You do not.
Okay.
That's,
good.
that's what I've been trying to say.
Okay, I thought we bamfed to like right outside the library.
We're gonna bamf from here back to the place that we left the material plane, which is the temple.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. I was trying to figure out where we. Oh,
From this throne room, we can leave and go back to the material plane.
is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That is what Vlakith has offered.
We do.
Welcome to the
hit-
logistics stream.
We have this entire conversation in character.
We're still confused about the
Well-
metaphysics, but this is acceptable.
And Vlakith says, "It would be easier if I, with your permission," and she motions towards Caelum, "was able to read your surface thoughts. Would this be acceptable?"
He will nod his head.
Are you sure you're comfortable with this? I can do it.
Unless you know the runes to the ruins. The runes of the teleportation sequence to the ruins.
Fair, I do not know that.
Okay. And so she is going to read your surface level thoughts. And she will just like put two fingers on the side of her temple as she looks at you, and her eyes sort of flash a little bit. And she nods and says, "Whenever you are ready."
Head empty, teleportation circle.
Okay. And you see she picks up her large silvered greatsword, and at the pommel of it, you can see that there is an arcane focus, and it looks just like this large, ostentatious ruby that seems to be set into the actual pommel. And she flips the sword into one hand. And Gwen, this is rightly impressive. This is a great sword that she is moving around as if it were a rapier with this singled hand. And as she does, you can see that behind her veil, her mouth is moving, and you can all begin to hear the sound of her beginning to weave this arcane spell together. And Caelum, she is using old magic. This isn't the magic that others are used to from post-sundering. Vlaakith has been alive since far before that, so the way that she casts spells is of the old tongue. And as she creates this circle beneath the lot of you, it is impressive in its own designs, and there is a shifting sound as you see Rasa actually emerges on the lip of the area to the throne room to watch your group go. And as your group is being encompassed by this glowing light, Caelum, I need you to make a wisdom save.
Ooh, boy. +3?
Leave my boy alone.
Yeah, this would be a +3.
Cool. 15.
Okay. As your group is enveloped by this magical energy, and Vlaakith begins to cast this shifting spell, and it is successful, Caelum, you hear a wry chuckle inside of your head as it feels like Vlaakith has decided to go a little bit deeper into your memories than she initially led on. And she says, "Thank you for the new vocabulary, speaker." And there is a flash, and as your eyes readjust, it is warm, unseasonably warm for the spring day that you remember it being. And you can feel that there is a breeze that seems to just shift through the ruins of this temple with its fire-stained bricks and kind of charcoal remainder smell. And you are standing in a hallway that Caelum is rather familiar with. And before you stands a set of large double doors, ornate in their design, ajar. And you all recognize these doors now to be the doors of the library. But when you look at them, they are mundane. They are just made of stone. And beyond the threshold of the gate where these doors would be, it just looks like an old dusted storage room. It is late in midday at this point in time, but you are back at the place that you left.
Caelum will sigh and start walking.
Okay. Do you walk up to the doors?
Yeah.
Okay. And The doors at this point are, again, mundane. There's nothing inherently devious about them. You see that the 5 holes at the above the slot where the brick is are still filled, and all of the fingers that were left as part of the key are still in their slots, and the brick is also still in its slot. And you realize now that when the door opens, the brick actually will split in half, but each separate piece is still slotted inside of the door. It looks like nothing has attempted to alter the state of this door in any way.
He will raise a hand up to where the fingers are and let a bit of the weave flow out, grab the brick, and turn it with his hand.
Okay. And the doors begin to shut.
Whoa, wait, Caelum, we don't want to go back there.
Wait, what?
The door is shutting.
We don't want to go to the library, right? That's how you get to the library.
No, this is the library inside of the keep. I'm closing the door. If you turn down the hallway and make a left, you can go upstairs.
Oh. So you're just closing the doors? You're not making a portal to another dimension, time, space, plane?
No, I'm closing these doors and hopefully no one opens them again.
Solid. Continue.
And Caelum, after you finish closing the doors, you take the fingers out of the slots, and they are 5 elven fingers, as they always were. And you take the brick, and as you go to stuff this small package that you know is the key back into your things, you realize at the bottom of your bag there is a similar looking package.
He will reach a hand down into his bag and pull out the second package.
And when you look inside, it is a brick very similar to the one that would normally be used for the key, but there are some clear defects along it, that this is not the same brick, and there are a bundle of human fingers that are inside of this.
Can I make a history check?
You can.
Because I think I know what these are and I don't like it. Plus 6 is a dirty 20.
Okay. So with a dirty 20, you know that the elven fingers and brick were the key to get into the library. When you were kidnapped and replaced with a simulacrum, they replaced that aspect of your gear with a set of utensils that would look close enough without proper inspection that they wouldn't raise any alarm as to them being missing. So these are just an additional 5 fingers and a weird brick, but they have no significance.
He will wrap the bundle of the fake key and he will rest it on his open palm and cast Sacred Flame to burn it.
Okay.
I think I want to take a look around inside the laboratory.
This is a different place.
This is a different place?
Yes, this is the ruins of the temple where you were initially from.
Ah. Got it.
Yep. That's okay. We hopped like 3 or 4 different places in the one episode before going to the astral plane, so like it's understandable, but you guys are in the ruined temple in the lower half of the map near Varna.
Right by like around Hollowlocks.
Yes.
Right.
No, farther south than that.
No, it's
Farther south.
in the forest, right?
Yeah.
South of the gated glen.
Yep. It was
Yep.
Caelum, this is where you initially set off from your adventure.
This is where he grew up.
This is your home.
You
Your home?
sit down on the temple's library steps and look around at all the destruction.
It's exactly as it was. There's a lot more grass and vines than you remember there being. You haven't been here in a while.
I didn't think I'd ever come back here. Not under, well, these circumstances. I didn't think these circumstances would ever happen, actually. I fell out of that tower. You'll point to where, like, there's a fallen tower near the library.
When?
Well, let me officially welcome you to the Temple of Saloon that I'm from.
Wait, this is the place?
On the material plane, yeah.
Cori's eyebrows shoot up. She reaches into her bag and pulls out a charred book. And she'll go and set it down on the book steps.
Sorry, I thought the delivery that you had was a charred book or something like that. I was like, what is happening? What is this timing?
No. It's weird. I got a text saying that my package was delivered like 20 minutes ago. God, the poor postal service.
And Caelum will look at it. He'll reach into his pocket and put a few silver on top of it. It's probably past due.
You want me to break some of the bricks, bud? I could, like, rip out the doors. And...
Why?
I mean, it's already pretty shitty, but
I could just open the doors again.
why?
Same question. Same why as to why you want to rip the place down.
Because bad things happened here and I want to destroy everything that hurt you?
It wasn't the people so much as an individual, Gwen. They were good people here. They just didn't know.
How's Al doing with all this?
He'll separate from the pack, kind of just surveying the surroundings.
Yeah. Al, it is balmy. It's very warm. Like, this definitely feels... It feels out of season. Make a survival check.
You've been gone for so long. 18.
Okay. As you're checking the surrounding areas, you start noticing particular flowers, insect calls. This is not an unseasonably warm day. This is a perfectly fine warm day for late summer.
He'll bend down to pick up a flower, and if he catches Arjhan's eye, like, head motion over. Hate to tell you this, boss, but he'll flick the flower away. I think we've been gone for quite a while.
Fuck.
I do hope your arrangement with your red dragon friend still stands.
What arrangement are you talking about?
Your red dragonborn friend, sorry.
With Kendek.
Aren't you supposed with Kendek?
Oh.
Aren't you supposed to go to a tower?
Yeah. Fuck.
Hey, we're alive, and that's the swell point, I guess.
Sure. We'll take the win.
I know this is going to be an even more grievous blow to you, and it's very unprofessional, but I'm putting in my 2 weeks as of 2 weeks ago.
What was our arrangement?
I help you until you find your boy.
I know. Did we discuss payment?
If we did, I've forgotten. Silly me not to get it on paper.
Well, here's your overtime, I guess. And he'll hand you 20 platinum.
Now, boss, you're supposed to work for more than 2 years before you get a severance. This good, at least.
Let's make sure that we didn't actually spend 2 years.
So what are you lot gonna do now?
I need to check on a certain red dragon friend.
Right. Well, I wish you luck. I need to go back and check on things down south. Maybe I'll find Arjhan. Take him to the Hollow Locks. He wants a shot at Crow. Al will extend a hand out to Arjhan.
Be careful what trouble you stir up in the Hollow Locks. He'll grab your hand. Shake it.
I'm sure the lady still finds me as a friend. I know 2 years of no call is like a little much, but he starts continuing on as he starts walking.
And Arjhan will just watch him leave.
Doesn't say goodbye.
Not his style.
You're doting over your baby boy.
Yes, obviously. I wouldn't notice.
Okay.
Ah, he's so sexy and mysterious.
And you'll see that if you actually do count your coins, one of the pieces that was shoved into your payment was a copper coin that has a distinctive marking on the back of it.
He'll flick it, tuck it in his breast pocket.
Okay. So, Arjhan leaves the party 20 platinum the richer. So, what are the rest of you doing inside of the temple on this balmy summer's day?
Is it usually this hot down here? Damn.
It's kind of muggy too.
Ugh.
Like Gwen,
Hate
you're
the
having a hard,
South.
you know that your hair is just going to start frizzing.
Frizzing.
Yep.
Well, the temple was pretty well insulated, so it was kind of cool.
Do we have Cyber with us?
Cybra was actually left with the group off constantly. She had not joined you on any of your travels.
Oh, right. I should probably do that. He will bring a finger up to his lips, and he'll try to contact Prescott. Hi, it's me. Don't be mad.
Oh.
We're fine. Where are you, Caelum?
I never thought I'd say this, It's good to hear from you. Where have you been? It's been months. In Gillet, we have your dog.
Off constantly has Cybra. They're in Gillet. It's been months.
What?
What?
Well, yeah, it's unnaturally balmy, and he points over to some flowers. Those don't grow in the spring.
Dude. Fuck. Gwen's gonna like run to the nearest place and sit down and try to contact Chua.
It's been months, but I never unsummoned my steed. I'm going to call to Ambleforth from across the land.
Okay.
Everybody does the thing in Home Alone where the mother's like, Kevin!
No, that was months ago when we realized that we didn't have Caelum.
Cori, you call forth Ambleforth. It is going to take roughly about 10 minutes or so. Are you doing it like in the general vicinity of your friends? Or are you like going off to the side to do this?
Just from wherever I am. I'm not summoning Ambleforth. I don't have that prepared.
Okay.
I just never unsummoned him. So I'm calling him to me.
Okay.
From wherever he's been for all these months.
Okay. Make an animal handling check with advantage.
Okay. A 19.
Okay. As you are calling out for Ambleforth, Cori, you hear a rustling in the foliage, not 100 yards away from where you are, and you see Ambleforth. But Ambleforth looks different than last you remember them. You are in your spring form currently.
Mm-hmm.
So Ambleforth is Ambleforth currently reflecting spring?
No.
Okay.
Ambleforth would be reflecting raven form.
Okay. And it is just this very grim looking steed that looks towards you, and you have the connection. It is happy to see you and begins like starting to make its way over towards you.
Cori actually stops him where he is before the rest can see him. Like, she just puts out a hand, like, and telepathically, Sylvan, horse girl, stay where you are. And she'll walk over to a burned table and start writing a note to her parents. Basically, what's going on? Is everything okay? Just update them on everything that's happened.
Okay.
Obviously not everything, but, you know, everything that she's been telling them about.
All right. And Ambleforth just sort of like rests into the shadows of the foliage. They are unseeable. Caelum.
Was Caelum updated that his spellbook is on the Oliver Ask?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. He's got some phone calls to make.
Cori will finish writing that note and then walk off into the foliage, tie the note to his horns, rub his nose fondly, and then unsummon him.
Okay. And Gwen, you go to make contact with Chua, and you are successful. And when you do, Chua is, you can see like she's wearing like much looser clothing than she normally does. Like, it's summer. She's old.
Yeah.
It's warm. And she is elated to see you again. And says, My chieftain, I did not know where you had gone. You said that you were going to get your boy, and then our scouts tell us that there was a great battle, and then I lose the... it's like I was trying to reach out to you, and it was just going and going and going.
Yeah,
We
I got
had
pulled onto a
our-
different plane of existence.
We had our spirit talkers try and speak to... Different what?
Yes, yeah. Like they called it the astral plane. I don't know how we got there. Frankly, I don't know how we got back. But apparently months have gone by. It was like 2 or 3 days. I don't know. It was hard to keep track. I never got hungry.
She nods and says, that is the way of the Great Sea. It is the 12th of Petros.
Oh, shit.
It has been almost 3 months since our last conversation.
I'm so sorry, Chua.
And she raises her hand. We had our spirit talkers try and find you amongst the dead. They were unsuccessful. We knew that you were still here. Just busy.
We got Caelum back, so that's good. But what's going on with the tribe? What's happening?
We are doing the best that we can. Your brother finally worked up the courage to ask the one of his affections. She said yes.
Yes.
They have been happy together. There is a little bit of resentment for it within the council. There are talks that they are trying to double up on their votes. But if you see them interact, they are both strong-headed individuals. They do not agree on everything.
Yeah.
The shadow beast has moved.
Oh, it's not gone?
She shakes her head no.
All right, that's a separate problem. Noted. But it's not like encroaching on us at all?
It stands and just looks at the fortress that you all had run to.
That's really weird. Okay. What about the sky? Has anything changed?
She says no. Everything is as it was. The Great Contemplator is still missing. But there have been no immediate changes.
Is there anything you need me to rule on?
And she says, not immediately. Come winter, we will figure out more of what to do with our food stores and how to continue our tribe as large as it is.
Right. Can you give everyone a message for me? Just because I know that they haven't seen me in a while.
She nods.
And Gwen will give a sort of a speech along the lines of like, your chieftain is still strong. I still stand with you. Like more, not propaganda stuff, but like just building up the tribe, and we're doing a good job. And if anyone needs anything from their chieftain, all they have to do is talk to Chua, and Chua will talk to her, and that sort of thing.
Sounds good.
And then she'll let you know. So we're like super far south, but I think we have to. I don't think we have anything to do down here. We might have to find a season, but I'd like to go back. I'd like to go back and see you guys and see everyone in person. But I don't know how long it'll take us to get up there. Probably a couple weeks.
She nods and says, "We anticipate your arrival."
All right, I'll give you more details as soon as I know. Did Rumble Thunder get back? All right.
Oh yes.
All right, solid.
She has been a happy beast of burden.
Good. And are there babies coming yet?
And she says no, but they are getting close.
Solid. All right. Hopefully, I can come back before they're all born.
She smiles at this. All right. And then is there anything else that you wanted to say to Chua?
No, that's good.
Okay. And then is there anything else that your group would like to do before nightfall?
Before taking a long rest, Cori would approach Caelum as gently as possible and respectfully as possible and say, Caelum, I don't know if this is inappropriate, but I promised Oliviette that I would get back in contact with her as soon as possible.
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Okay. She will, through Caelum, send a sending to Oliviette, which is as follows. We did it. Caelum's safe, but we had to go to the Astral Sea. Miss you. What did we miss? I love you, Oliviette.
The response back is, I love you too. Très bien. She's very excited at the fact that Caelum has been found. What do you mean, what did you miss? You went to the Astral Sea? I stopped counting words and started just like doing sentences instead. So, you went to the Astral Sea? Hopefully I will see you again soon.
Cori looks to Caelum. Can I send another?
I think I've got one more in me.
She looks to him gratefully. Shoot, I didn't write this one down. Yes, it was gorgeous. Evidently, it's been months. I hope to see you again soon. I've got like 5 more, right? Or 10 more? 10.
More.
Okay. Oh, shoot. It sounds like nothing bad has happened. I love you.
It sounds beautiful. I love you too. From what I know, everything is going fine. Arask is back to normal, minus his wings.
All right. Cori thanks Caelum.
His wings aren't back to normal, is what she was meaning.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
She just looks really happy. We're not spending the night in the temple, are we?
We could.
I don't know. It's really up to Caelum. I feel like this is a bad place for him.
It's fine.
Okay. Tonight, Cori, what phase is the moon in?
Well, given that it is the 12th of the month, you are currently in a waning moon. And it looks like you have about 3 days left until it is a new moon.
Okay. Cori's gonna try and connect with Elstray again.
Make a religion check.
Okay, that's a 16.
Okay. What do you say?
Cori doesn't really know how to pray. So she gets out her sword, sits with it across her lap, closes her eyes, and basically says to Elistray, well, we're back. If there's anything you want to say to me, now would be a good time.
There's no response. And as you look down at your sword with this cracked holy symbol, it just seems unseemly. Almost.
She spends the rest of the night just reaching out to Elistray.
Okay. And that is where we are going to close on the Four Keeps for the evening. Al, as you are making your way through the woods this evening and counting out all of your coinage, you find yourself next to a small lake in the middle of these woods. And you are about to sit down and start making a rest. And you see ripples from the water. And coming out of this water is what looks like a creature of unimaginable horror.
Motherfucker.
With a white-haired individual brandishing a sword, fighting against it, being lifted up out of the water, and you recognize this to be your friend Arjhan. And he is lifted up and slammed down onto the ground. And it looks like they are currently caught in combat. What would Al like to do?
He chuckles to himself as he shifts the mask back onto his face. He spins the Urgosh in his hand and he slams it, golf swing down at the sand to propel himself outward into the water.
Okay. And after you enter into combat, Arjhan will look over towards you and with a nod say, Jackal, it's good to see you again. And that is where we are going to call it for tonight's session. So I would like to say thank you to everybody who decided to stop by and stuck with us through Twitch's terrible job of hosting this stream. I'm sure it's fine. We wouldn't go anywhere else, especially not Mixer. It's okay. Hey, speaking of things that are finally okay, hey RJ, where can we find you? What do you do?
We're going to say okay at best.
At best.
Hey everybody, I'm RJ here on the channel. You can catch me at RJustice22 on Twitter and Twitch, where you can see some really nice artwork of the boy, not in his current form, in his previous form. And sometimes I stream games with people and stuff. You can catch me here, of course, on Mondays as Caelum the Shatterkai Wizard Cleric, and on Sundays during our Tomb of Annihilation game as Hassan the Yuan-Ti Druid Cleric. This week on Thursday, you can catch me over at G Game Nights at 7:30 EST, where I am Theo, a rich kid who just punched his cousin for making fun of his dead mother. In Elegant Suffering, it's a Good Society game. And of course, on tomorrow and Thursday morning and Sunday morning, you can catch me over at the Hype Goblins channel, where I play as, God, what's his name? Titus. He is a Warlock Ranger with hell to pay.
Solid. I'm gone a week and I forget what to do. Hi, I'm LBHackEmUp. You can find me at LBHackEmUp. Tomorrow I will be live on my channel, LBHackEmUp, on the Twitches. I'm going to be playing a game. I haven't decided what game it is. And hopefully I'll have the kitten cam set up by then, so you guys can watch the kittens while you watch me play games. So that'll be fun. And then Wednesday on Nerdivision's channel. Thursday back on my channel for horror games, because this is my life now. Friday on Encounter Roleplay doing the Masks game. Saturday, Dark. Sunday doing double duty with G Game Nights and Tomb of Annihilation. ToNakeHunter.com.
Hoi, I'm Cyber. He, him. You can find most of my stuff at cyberwolf1201.live. Yeah, that was the right address. There's links to the Twitch where I play games bad. I talk about lore. There's a YouTube, there's Patreon where I do stuff. There's merch where you can get all some more stuff with the Arjhan thing that's on the mask. Man, why do I always get so tired during this? Specifically during this. Everything else you can find not only me, but a lot of other streamers on jabroni.tv and jabroni.tv tabletop. It's the same site. Check it out. They're cool people. What you don't see on there are the games that I'm playing. It's this one. More stuff will come, but it's this one right now. Yeah. DanaeKeener.com.
And speaking of DanaeKeener.com, hi everybody, I'm Danae Keener. You can find me at DanaeKeener.com. I do nerdy drawings mostly related to D&D and a lot of things on this channel. I play as Coriander the Elgin Paladin on Mondays and as Baz the Drow Rogue Fighter on Sundays. I don't know why I keep on trying to say cleric, actually. He's not a cleric, far from it. Yeah. Drow the Baz Cleric, DanaeKeener.com.
And if you've made it
Sonic
this
OC?
far... And if you've made it this far, you probably already know who I am. But if you don't, hey Acorns, what's up? It's me, your buddy, your pal, your friend, the Indoor Adventurer, the showrunner here at twitch.tv/IndoorAdventures. We do shows like this Mondays and Thursdays soon at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, as well as on Sundays at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. All these shows are currently being produced thanks to the efforts of all of you wonderful people. So thank you for joining us on Patreon, for joining us on Twitch. It's really nice. Thank you. We are going to be going into our after show called Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from each other, but also from the community. And if you've thought to yourself, hey, how do I ask these questions? Check out the Discord link to the side. It's over here, I believe, or you can find it in the description of this video. We have a channel called Questions for the Courts. It's the easiest way that you will find to be able to get your question to us directly for them sweet answers. But we are going to be heading into that now, so I would like to say once again, thank you to everybody who stopped by and stuck with us. Thank you to these wonderful players for putting up with my bullshit once again this week. And we will see all of you guys next time. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.